Welcome back to the Sports Playbook. If you're new here, follow us on all of our social channels or on YouTube. This is a very exciting episode. We have our first Olympian on the podcast. It's none other than my good friend, but Rugby 7 star, Bridget Clark.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
So fun. We're chatting off that we haven't seen each other in quite a few years.
It's been a long time, yeah.
It's nuts.
It has.
But I feel like there's no better way of getting into it than throwing some fun questions at you and our listeners can get to know you a little bit better.
Perfect.
Ready to go?
Ready.
So, tomato sauce, in or out of the fridge?
In the fridge.
Yeah, nice. It's just a general for most people.
Of course, yeah.
I know this one probably, but summer or winter?
Summer.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm a big summer fan, yeah.
Cats or dogs?
I'm a dog person for sure.
Very good. Sleep in or an arvo nap?
Oh, I do like both. I do like my sleep, but I would probably take a sleep in over an early morning.
Yeah, very good. And final one, score a try on the buzzer
Mm-hmm.
or thrash a team?
Oh, score a try on the buzzer for sure, yeah. A close game's always a good game.
100%. I feel like that very much, we'll get into that a bit later, but it was very much like your debut,
Yes.
where you won the bronze medal and played a very important part in that because you didn't drop the ball, right?
Thank you. That was very exciting, yeah.
100%. Well, Bridgie, I've been very lucky to know you for quite a long period of time, but I'd love to give listeners a bit more of an understanding of who you are, where you've come from, and I guess what your background is.
For sure. So basically, I grew up in Oatley, so neighbours.
Yeah.
My two older brothers played rugby, so I kind of grew up just watching them the whole time, and I kind of got into rugby because I loved watching them. And I started playing it for fun when I was probably about 15 or 16. And I guess just like worked my way through club ranks and school tournaments and things. And eventually ended up training with some of the top level teams. And I guess that's just how I got into it.
And when you were growing up at school, like in high school, you tried lots of different sports, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
What kind of sports were you into?
I was mainly actually into hockey growing up.
Right.
And that was kind of the dream. Like when I was at school, I was really enjoying that. Hockey and a bit of Oz tag too.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was probably about 16 or 17 when I kind of had to make the decision between hockey or rugby, like which one I wanted to pursue. And I stuck with rugby.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did. Like I love it now. So
what was that thought process like when you've got, arguably you've been playing hockey for a long period of time?
Yes.
And rugby is like, I guess, a bit more in the family.
Yeah.
What kind of made you go down the path of rugby?
I guess just opportunities. Like I think I was in year 9 when the girls won the gold medal at the Rio 2016 Olympics.
Yeah.
And I guess just watching that and seeing the opportunities that Rugby 7's provided, I was so motivated and I was like so excited to kind of have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it was a hard decision and I thought about it a lot, but no, I decided that was what I kind of wanted to go with and that was the dream.
And I think it's, you lean into it really well where you're playing Oz tag as well. And I feel like it's a really good fundamental base for anyone that's either in rugby or either in NRLW too. Like
absolutely.
To grow in that grassroots. Like, what was that like for you?
Good, yeah. I played Oz tag since I was about 4 years old.
Yeah.
So like building the fundamentals where you're like passing and catching and that kind of like game awareness was really crucial for me. Because I didn't start playing until I was about 16. And like you think that's quite late, I guess, to start a sport. But no, I had like those fundamentals and it was a good background, I guess.
Do you remember your first game? 16?
I do actually.
Yeah.
It was for school and we were just playing for fun. Like I purely signed up to be with my friends and like have some fun and we just played in like this gala day. And we did really well. And Dad was the coach actually.
Was he?
Yeah, and it was lots of fun and I knew from there that it was something that I wanted to pursue.
Because your dad, like he has a very strong background in rugby, but also rugby league as well. Do you mind giving the viewers a bit of an understanding of his background?
For sure. So Dad played rugby league for the Sharks till he was about 21 and he got quite a serious injury. So he was told he could never play again. So he stopped playing. And then after having my two older brothers, he kind of converted to coaching. So he coached my brothers from, I think they were about 4 or 5, all the way through their younger years into school coaching, and he loves it. And like he coached my Oz tag, and he's always been around it a lot. So
what's it like to have someone like him in your corner, but just being able to like you said, he was a coach on your very first gala day.
Yes.
To go to him and get that advice or that sounding board.
It's incredible. Like he has such a wide range of knowledge. And I think sometimes I often come home and I'm so surrounded by it that I don't really want to, talk about it and like talk too much with him. But I know that I always can come to him like for questions and for support, and he will understand. So.
Yeah. So you play your first gala day of rugby. When did it start to, I guess, become a bit more of reality, like starting to get into a few rep teams and potentially getting noticed through like pathways and things?
Yeah, I was quite lucky. The school system that I was in, I got picked up quite early by a representative team. And I was what was called the Sydney Uni Cubs. It was like the Sydney Uni like young representative team. And I was traveling 3 nights a week to Barker College in Hornsby after school, which was a big journey to do that after school and then come home and still be able to like study and do all my assessments and things. So I did find that quite challenging. But then I just did that through school, and then after school I was lucky enough to go into the New South Wales Academy.
Right.
And then I trained there for about 2 years. And then I was lucky enough to get the opportunity just to train with the Australian team. And then from there just kind of like integrated myself in there.
And I feel like in the New South Wales pathways, I mean, I saw it in a previous Instagram post, you've played with a lot of people that are also in like rugby now, but also NRLW.
Absolutely, yeah.
Could you kind of explain like what kind of players you were playing with at the time?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like 7's attracts a lot of those girls. Like a lot of the girls who are playing league at the moment have come from a 7's background.
Yeah.
And I think that's the special thing about 7's. Like it provides you with such a big base. And I guess like a lot of skills that are transferable.
Yeah.
So you're right. So you'll see like even within the Sharks, like Emma Tonegado, who's playing for New South Wales at the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of those girls, even like Jess Surgis, Isabel Kelly, all of them have played 7's in the past. So it's a very like transferable sport.
Did you play with Jessie Southwell?
I did, yes. Yeah. I was in the New South Wales program when she was.
Far out.
Yes, I loved playing with her. She's a good player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's gone to the league the past couple of years, I think.
And what was that in the academy? What was that kind of experience like for you? Did you feel, I guess, at home? Did you feel a bit intimidated? What was it like going through?
Yeah, I guess so. I was quite young in that academy compared to a lot of the other girls. But I loved it there. Like I always found they were very supportive, and like I was never really intimidated in the New South Wales kind of group. And I found that it was a really good place just to kind of like build up my skills and train. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And what position did you start to hone into in the pathways?
In terms of like playing position?
Yeah, like playing position.
I guess I started in the backs because I came in as kind of like this little like kid. Like I was like, I didn't have much muscle. Like and then I worked my way. So I'm a forward now. And I think that's because I've like built up my strength, and I am one of, I guess, the like taller and bigger girls. So they've put me in the forwards now that I can handle it.
How do they, I guess with rugby 7's, you have to be like quite agile, quite fast, things like that.
Yes.
I guess from a listener's point of view, how do you, might sound like a silly question, but how do you determine, I guess, a forward from a back? Because you're all fairly similar body shapes and sizes.
Absolutely.
How does that kind of work?
Honestly, in 7's, there's not too much of a difference between a forward and a back.
Yeah.
I would say, so basically the only difference is in set piece. So say in scrums, in lineouts, the forwards are kind of in the set piece and the backs have the whole field to run.
Yeah.
But it is a very similar position, I guess, because there is so much space on the field. Like everyone is kind of fulfilling every role and everyone does have to step up to, do everything.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Bridgie, I think it's time for our first photo.
No.
And I think you know this photo quite well. But
Yes.
I'm going to show you anyway.
Yes, I do. I love that photo.
Yeah. Could
Yeah.
you talk about that photo and where you were?
For sure, yes. That photo means a lot to me. I was in, that was just after the Rio Olympics. I believe I was in year 9 at my high school at Santa Sabina. And the Aussie 7's came to do a session with us. Our sports coordinator at the time was George Ayub, and he's like a referee within rugby union.
Yeah.
So he has a few connections. So he got the Aussie 7's down to train with us. And I was just in awe. Like I couldn't believe it. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And I remember, so that's Charlotte Caslick who I'm standing next to. And I remember just like being so nervous to ask her for like a photo and an autograph. And now she's like one of my teammates and like one of my good friends, which is like incredible to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that photo.
It's we'll get to it a bit later, but I think it's a great photo because in years to come, you get that same photo a little bit later.
I do, yeah.
When you make your debut, which is
I do.
Such an incredible experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you're in the pathways in New South Wales. You're starting to get noticed a little bit more. But with every journey, it's never smooth sailing, is it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I feel like I'd love to give viewers a bit of an understanding as to, unfortunately, pick up a few injuries along the way whilst you're gaining momentum. What kind of happens through that period? I guess what were those injuries, I guess?
I think a big one for me was I had just been invited to train with the Australian team for a few months, and I was really I felt really comfortable, like I was really getting in there, and then I was just playing a game for New South Wales, like just kind of like getting my game time in.
Yeah.
And I picked up quite a significant knee injury. I tore my PCL, which was about a 6-month recovery. And that honestly disrupted a lot for me. I found it very hard at the time because I wasn't contracted with the Australian team, but I was training with them. Because I was only invited to train with them, it meant that all of a sudden, now I couldn't, that I was just kind of removed from that area. And like I had to do my rehab with New South Wales. And I wasn't really included anymore in the training squad.
Yeah.
And I felt that was a big setback for me because then I didn't know where I stood. And it did take me a while, I would probably say almost a full year to work my way back into the Australian squad and kind of, I guess, cement my position. Yeah.
And what time period is this? Is this like around like the Tokyo Olympics or whenabouts is this?
This was quite, well, I wouldn't say recent, but it was about, I would say the start of 2022.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I would say I came back like mid 2023. And I was training in and out of the Australian team, and then cemented my position, I guess, at the back end of 2023.
Yeah. And you talk about there, like you go back to the New South Wales side to start your rehab and things like that. What are you thinking these times? Because obviously 6 months out of any game is a long period of time for anyone.
Yes.
What mentally, what's going through your mind? Are you feeling like a sense of, I want to come back stronger than ever? What's kind of happening for you at this point?
I guess it was quite an isolating period because I guess everything that I had been doing was with this Australian team, and now all of a sudden that I was injured, I was just kind of like kicked back to New South Wales, and like I had to like do my rehab there, and it is quite hard mentally, I guess, especially as a full-time athlete. Like you're not really doing anything else. Like I guess sport is like your whole life. So when you're in rehab, and especially in the early stages when you can't do too much, it is very mentally challenging. I guess you've just got to pick yourself up and know that like, you've just got to do these little things to get better and like to get yourself better, and you can put yourself in a position to, I guess, like put your best foot forward and be better when you are recovered.
Yeah. And what's your discipline like at that point in time? Because it's very hard to just keep going and feeling like it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. How was that side for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that I have quite good discipline.
Yeah.
We do have quite a good support system in terms of like the girls are incredible. Like supporting each other. Often there are other girls in rehab, so that does really help. Like doing rehab by yourself sucks.
Oh, absolutely.
So having those other girls to lean on are really good. And like my family are also very good at like supporting me through injuries and like helping me get back. So I would say I'm pretty good at sticking to rehab. You know, not every day is perfect. You got to have your off days, but yeah, I would say I'm okay.
Yeah, and you fight your way and you earn your way back into the team.
Yes,
and this is the back end of 2023.
Yes, correct.
How did that feel to rejoin the squad and know that you've earned it and you're back in the place where you can really thrive?
It was exciting. It was very exciting. It was a bit intimidating, I would say. Like they often talk about like the imposter syndrome when you're kind of like new to a big team and like an environment like that. And I was quite intimidated, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
But it was very exciting. It was to have the opportunity to be back there full time, and kind of just know that like now is the time to lock in and train and do my best. Yeah, it was exciting.
When you say you felt intimidated, was that when did you start to, I guess, feel a bit more comfortable in that environment? Was it a few sessions back? Is it taking a bit of time? Like, what did that look like for you?
Honestly, I would probably say a few months.
Yeah.
Like I debuted in April of 2024. And I would honestly probably say, and up until then, just like training, because we're training with the world's best. And like these girls are incredible. Like they've been playing the game for 6 or 7 years, and like you're just like coming in and you don't want to overstep, like you don't want to, you know, be an interference, like you just want to kind of do the best you can. So yeah, I would say probably quite a few months that lasted.
And you talk about your debut and you very rightfully earned it.
Thank you.
It's so far at the Hong Kong 7's, which is arguably one of the biggest tournaments.
Absolutely.
Not just on the rugby calendar, but I feel like on the sporting calendar, it's so well known.
Yeah.
Do you remember where and when you received the news that you were going to make the team?
I do actually.
Yeah.
So we had a team meeting.
Right.
And I hadn't been told, like I hadn't been told anything. And the team was leaving on Sunday. And as they normally do, they pull everyone in to announce the team. And I just, I expected it to be announced, and I would just like keep kind of working my way towards trying to get in the team. And I'll never forget, we had a slideshow up and our coach put up the team list, and it was basically just like photos of everyone's faces on the wall. And I was looking, and I kind of had a double take, and I was like, wait, I was like, I'm up there. And yeah, it was just incredible. And all the girls are so supportive, and they were so excited for me, which like truly meant a lot. Like it was really special. And I remember calling my dad and crying on the phone, and I could hear him choking up and almost crying too, which was so special. So yeah, it was an incredible moment.
Was it very quick back to home and like pack the bags ready for Sunday?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. And mum and dad, I think, like really quickly booked a flight, and so did Papa actually. He came over, so yeah, it was really special.
What you're on the flight over to Hong Kong?
Yes.
What are those emotions like for you?
Honestly, I felt so sick with nerves. I don't think I slept that whole week. But I was very excited.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like Hong Kong is one of the best events, like sporting events in the world. Like it's incredible. Like it was just a packed out stadium, and it to this day is probably my favorite 7's tournament on the World Series. So yeah, it was just incredible to be able to do that there.
Yeah. Well, it's time for another photo.
Yes.
And you mentioned it very well. But here's a photo of your dad and Papa in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
What does that photo mean to you?
It means so much to me. Like, so that was at the Hong Kong Australian Embassy, where we had our jersey presentation.
Wow.
And they kind of do a really nice like presentation to all the girls. And Charlotte Caslick actually got up and like did a little speech and then presented me with my first Australian jersey.
Yeah.
And that moment meant so much to me, and I could tell it meant so much to Dad and Papa too. Yeah, which was really special.
And we'll go into the next slide.
Yeah. So
Very-
that's
like full circle, right?
absolutely, yeah. It's incredible to think about. And like you look at the difference of the two photos and I'm like a dweeby little 14-year-old and then all of a sudden I've had this like incredible opportunity to be there next to Charlotte and play with her. So
Do you remember running out onto the field for the first time?
I do, yes.
What was that like?
Again, I do get quite nervous. And I remember that the first game of the tournament, I was sitting on the bench, but I actually didn't get on. And I think that like I was so built up inside that I just like, it almost made it worse because I was like so nervous. And then I brought that into the next game. And I actually started the next game.
Right.
But the adrenaline was just incredible. Like it's something that just completely takes over your body. And like, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I think I'm just rolling through heaps of photos at this point, but I think this is actually a pretty crucial game for you. Do you remember where this photo was placed?
I do. It was in the bronze medal match.
Yeah.
So I remember I came on with about 5 minutes to go, I think. And I just got the ball and I looked up and I saw space, which is like very rare. And I remember running and I could hear the crowd. And I ended up scoring in, I think the last few minutes of the match. And I actually got to score right in front of mum and dad.
Did you?
Yeah, which was really cool. And then we were lucky enough to take the ball back, kick off. And we were still behind at this point. We were 2 points behind.
Yeah.
But we got the ball back. And I think it was one of the most incredible team tries I've ever seen. Like it went for about a minute and a half. And we were just passing. And Maddie Levi scores in the corner.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning that game, which was just incredible. Like it was such an adrenaline rush. And
because in that play, you very much used both sides of the field.
Absolutely.
And like you said, like it was going from left to right, a minute and a half. Like it had everyone on their feet. And you win a bronze medal.
Yeah.
Like in your debut tournament, like what's that like for you?
It was so special. Like it was, I think, especially to end the tournament like that. Like obviously we had lost the semis previously, and that was a bit disappointing. But I think to turn it around and like win that last game and earn the bronze medal was lots of fun.
Yeah. So you finished the Hong Kong tournament.
Yes.
What's it like going over to your parents and knowing that you've just completed your very first tournament?
It was so special. And like for them to tell me that like they were so proud of me, and even for them to make the trip over to Hong Kong, like it did mean so much to me. And it was very special to be able to see them and hug them and see them enjoying it. It was nice.
So you finished the Hong Kong tournament, an absolute high. What does that next period of time look like for you? Because timeline wise, it's about March 2024.
Yes.
What's that next couple of months like for you? Because obviously it's leading into the Paris team.
Yes, yeah.
Did you have an inkling that you could make the team, or what was that
feeling
like?
Well, that's a good point. Like I would say I came into 2024 with a very low hope of making the Olympics. Like it was always the dream, but I think just the way things played out with injuries and selections and different things, like I had very low expectations and honestly had my sights set on like 2028, like the LA Olympics.
Yeah.
And debuting at Hong Kong, that was, I guess, the first kind of thing inside me where I was like, oh, maybe this is possible. So then we moved into our next tournament in Singapore about a month later, and we played there and we made the grand final, but we lost. And then we played the final tournament of the World Series, which is in Madrid, which we actually won, which was incredible with that team. And that was such a good tournament and so much fun over there.
Yeah.
But then those next few months, so that was about, I think that was about May.
Yeah.
And then we had about 2 months before the Olympic team was selected. And those 2 months were just like grind down, like as hard as you can. And I always had the hope, but I never really thought that I was going to make it, if that makes sense. Like it was always so like up in the air. And then we had these trial games in Brisbane. just prior to the Olympic team getting selected, which was pretty much selection.
Right.
And yeah, I was actually in Australia A, so the second team for these selection games and to see, so I wasn't in the top team.
Okay.
And I was so happy with the way I played, and like it was a really good weekend. And from that, pretty much they selected the Olympic team, which I was so lucky to be a part of.
When you say there it's Australia and Australia A,
Yes.
did you feel like the pressure was off you a little bit because you're in the Australia A team? You felt like you could play a bit more of your natural game, do you think?
A little bit. I think I could kind of see both sides.
Yeah.
I guess like playing for Australia A, I felt like I had the opportunity to, like really make a mark and kind of like be there as one of the leaders in that team. But saying that, I really felt the pressure to kind of perform to get into that top team.
Yeah.
It was kind of from both perspectives. But yeah.
And then you come away from Brisbane. When did you get told, or when did you, I guess, know that you've made the Olympic squad?
It's a bit of a funny story, actually. So I'm quite a gullible person. Like I believe a lot. And we went out for a team dinner after training one night, and one of the girls got a call from our manager saying that the drug testers were back at Rugby Australia where we train. And I was like, it's 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Like, what are the drug testers doing here? So we got told that we all had to come back as a team because we were getting drug tested. And I was like, oh, like I just totally believed it. Like I thought we were all like, it's just standard protocol. And then we all got back to Rugby Australia and they opened the doors and there was a big runway and all these balloons. And I was a bit confused what was going on. But then there were like big posters of all of us who had kind of made the team, and I was on there.
Wow.
And at first I didn't really know if I had been selected in the 12 who were playing, because there are 2 reserves who also come over.
Yeah.
But yeah, they like did a big presentation and like announced the selection. And it was, I'll remember it so well. It was incredible.
One of the strangest drug tests you could have done.
Very much so, yeah.
Were you able to call your parents straight after that?
I actually waited till I got home.
Did you?
Yeah. So I messaged them because I think it was about 10 o'clock at this time. And I just messaged them and I said, can you please stay up till I got home? And I didn't know if I scared them saying that. But I walked home with this big poster and these big balloons. And I think they had a little bit of a feeling what was going on because they knew that like the announcement was around this time, and they I told them and they were just so happy. Like, I think Dad ran straight upstairs and booked tickets to Paris. And it was very, very special.
Because you're playing in a team with like amazing athletes across the park. Could you put into perspective for everyone, I guess, who can't remember, the types of people that are in this team?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got they're incredible athletes in the team. Like you have Maddie Levi, who is probably the fastest runner on the World Series, and she's incredible, like so strong, so fit. And then you've got the likes of, say, like Caitlin Shave, who was a sprinter, and her hopes was to go to the Olympics as a sprinter, but then converted to rugby 7's.
Wow.
Like all girls have come from really like athletic backgrounds and playing different sports. So the athleticism in the team is very prevalent.
Yeah. And then you booked, you're there in Paris.
Yes.
You make the trip over and you get into the Olympic Village. What is the Olympic Village like, and what was that experience like knowing you're from Australia and you're representing the country?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like it's so basically each country has their own little like apartment building.
Yeah.
And the Australian one is set up really well. So downstairs there's like a big communal room and like a kitchen where you can like kind of hang out and like meet all the other athletes. And I was like starstruck seeing a lot of them. Like I didn't feel like I should be in the same place as them, but it was incredible. The village itself, it was interesting. I actually got quite sick in the Olympic Village, and a few of the other girls did too. We got food poisoning.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I was like I had gastro. I was quite sick for a couple days leading into game day, which wasn't very good. I was still able to train, but we were like very much on bed rest. Like we didn't really get to explore the village very much.
Yeah.
Which at times was a bit sad because I remember one day Snoop Dogg came through the village.
Did he?
Yeah, and we didn't get to see him. We were kind of inside and stuck. But in general, it was amazing. Like yeah, it was really cool.
And you were sleeping on those cardboard box beds, right?
Yes.
Was that the worst sleep you ever got?
Yes. Honestly, you get used to it. The first night I thought I was in trouble. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but you do get used to it. And like it wasn't too bad. So.
And there's something that's on this table at the moment that I think was sitting on top of the bed.
Yes, yeah.
What's it like, I guess, seeing that? I mean, it's like a plush toy, but I think it means so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's it like having something like that there to remind you of home, but also, I guess, the Australian spirit in a way?
Yeah, it does mean a lot. I guess like the Australian team did so much for us to make us feel at home and like to give us little things like that, which you're right, which is like something so small, but is kind of like a reminder of home and like people thinking of us. And kind of with that toy was a little like drawing that I think school kids had done for us.
Okay.
Just like individualized and being like, you know, good luck, like have fun. And yeah, it was just such a nice, like warm feeling that like people are thinking of us and like people are really like wishing us the best.
Yeah. And so you play your first lot of pool matches.
Yes.
And at this point, Australia is, and correct me if I'm wrong, going to the tournament like one of the favourites.
Yes, correct. We were the favourite to take it out.
I guess what's it like going into your first Olympic team? And I guess having this external noise and pressure of you're a very, very good chance of getting the gold medal. Did you feel that pressure yourself, or were you able to kind of block out the noise?
I did feel it a little bit. I think on top of that pressure of being the favourite was like almost the pressure that we had worked so hard for 6 months, or like for a lot of the girls years, but like for myself particularly, leading into the Olympics, like the hardest we've ever worked. And like we had training sessions where all of the girls would be throwing up and crying because you're just being forced to run and like just be so fit that it was almost like this was all what it was for. So all this hard work had kind of built up to this moment. And I guess that for me was where the pressure stemmed, because it was kind of about performing in that moment and everything had led up to that. So I did feel a bit of the pressure. Yeah, I was quite nervous.
Yeah. And so you get through the end of the pool matches. You've won every pool match.
Yes.
You win in the quarterfinal.
Yes.
What's the team morale like at this point?
It's very good at this point. So basically the last day was the semis and the finals. And I'll circle back to this a little bit later, but we're packing our bag for the day and we get given a podium tracksuit. And because you're staying out there for the day, like if the chance you're in the podium. So we packed our podium tracksuit. We got told to put it in, like it's this really specially designed Australian tracksuit where like it's like the greatest honour, I guess, receiving an Olympic medal. Yeah. So we pack our podium tracksuit like in the hopes that we're going to be up there on that podium. And everyone's in really good spirits and we just, like excited and just like keen to get it done, I guess.
Yeah. And so the semi-final comes around.
Yes.
And the first half is you're up 12-0, right?
Yes,
at this
correct.
point.
Yeah.
I guess it sounds like a stupid question, but I guess what happens next from the Australian team's point of view?
Yeah. So just before halftime, Canada took the ball off us and ran the field and scored. So at halftime, I believe it was 12-7. And we come into halftime and we're positive, like we're it's okay, like we'll come back from this. And then that second half, like honestly, it feels like a blur. Like I can't even remember really what happened, but Canada ended up scoring and I think we just like didn't have the ball and we really couldn't find an opportunity to kind of attack back. And we did end up losing that semi-final to Canada, which was probably the biggest game of our lives, which was very disappointing.
And rugby sevens is all about momentum.
Yes.
If it's on your side, you take it and you harness it.
Absolutely,
But when it's not, it is like pushing something up a hill and just feeling like you're going nowhere.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, and that's the thing. Like, we didn't have the ball. Like, we tried so hard to get it back, and you're right, to get the momentum, but they just kind of, they had it, and it was very disappointing.
So you're inside the change rooms, and unlike most, I guess, matches or final series where you can kind of bounce back after a week, a couple of days.
Yes.
You need to bounce back within 3 hours.
Yes, yeah.
Like that's an incredibly hard challenge.
Absolutely, yeah. That was something that was huge for us. Like, we came into that change room and I have never felt such like low morale, and I don't think anyone said a word for about an hour. Like, we were just sitting in silence. Most of us were crying because we knew what it meant. We knew the opportunity of a gold medal had been taken away from us.
Yeah.
And I think like our coaching staff tried so hard to kind of pick us back up. And I guess towards the end of those 3 hours, like we knew we had to get up for this game. Like there was still a bronze medal on the line, and like we weren't going to let that go. So we did pick ourselves back up, and in the warm up, like we were really energetic, like we were ready, and we were ready to try and take that bronze medal.
So you get into the game, and this is against the US, right?
Yes, correct, yeah.
What's, I guess, the feeling like in the early stages of the match?
I think we started the game quite well, and I believe we were up at halftime, and we were up with actually about 20 seconds to go, and the US had the ball pretty much on their try line, so they had a whole field to go, and I was on the field at the time, and I just remember looking to my left, and somehow one of the girls had just run through our defensive line, and I'll never forget, I tried to run as fast as I could, like back to the line to try and stop them, but she was just too fast, and she ended up scoring and ultimately winning that game, and winning the bronze medal from us, which was again like heartbreaking.
Yeah. What's your raw emotion like in that very first stage?
Yeah, I fell to my knees, and I just like I couldn't get up. Like I was heartbroken. And to think that all the work we had done over the past 6 months, like we were just constantly told that it would be worth it, and you kind of feel like it wasn't worth it. Which was, it was so disappointing, and something that like even still hurts now. But yeah, very disappointing.
And I guess the only positive in that situation is you've got your family there with you. What's it like knowing that obviously your dad has an amazing background, your mum's very supportive, but also one of your brothers was able to fly over as well?
Yes,
Andrew.
yeah, it was very special.
What was that like, I guess, knowing that it's probably one of the most disappointing moments you've had to date, but having your family there to be right there to help you?
It was nice. It was actually quite hard in the stadium. It was an incredible stadium. There were 80,000 people there. And I was standing in the middle of the stadium and I was crying, like I was just distraught. And I was looking around and I could not find my family. And I remember at the time being like, all I want to do is find my family and like hug them and like for them to tell me that it's going to be okay. But I couldn't find them. And I spent, I don't know how long, just walking around, like trying to spot them in the crowd, like trying to see them. And I didn't end up seeing them, which hurt even more, to be honest, that I had to walk away and not be able to share that with them. It was hard.
When was the first time you were able to see them?
I actually saw them that night. We went out for dinner.
Yeah.
And I just kind of messaged them and they were very happy to be able to catch up with me. And yeah, we just kind of had dinner together and they were very supportive. And my grandparents actually were over there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just all had dinner together and it was nice. It was nice they were there for me.
And I think we touched on it before, like the Australian 7's team, there's a lot of, I guess, built up pressure and expectation around it. Like you said earlier, they've won the Rio 2016 games.
Yes.
They did very well in 2020. 2024 happens. I guess you're in that change room and you talk about before you had the podium tracksuit that's sitting there. You've had back-to-back hard losses. When you look around at like your sisters and your teammates, what's, I guess, the first thoughts that kind of come to mind?
I think it was honestly heartbreaking. And I think for two of the girls in particular, that was their last game of 7's ever. They had announced that they were retiring after the Olympics. So for that to be their last game and like kind of for us to like share that with them was very disappointing. And you can tell a lot of the girls were very upset, and coaching staff included. Like they had given their whole lives, and like we're constantly like away from our families and like traveling and like putting so much work into this. And for it to like kind of not pay off, I think we really felt that.
Yeah. And I guess you fly back from Paris. Did you take some time away from the game? Did you take some time to just reset? What did that kind of look like?
I did, yeah. I flew straight home. A few of the girls actually continued on in Europe a little bit, but I just wanted to come home. Yeah. I was ready to come home. But it was really nice. I spent so much time with my friends and my family. We had about 6 weeks off.
Yeah, nice.
And I don't think I went anywhere, to be honest, but I went to like nice dinners with my friends, and like leading into the Olympics, I had stopped drinking. I had pretty much stopped going out. I was just really locked in. So I got to go out and like enjoy a few drinks and like have a nice dinner with my friends. And yeah, it was really, really nice to just be around them and like, relax for a little bit.
100%. And you have, at 22, Bridge, you've achieved a lot. You've made your debut for the Australian team in the Rugby 7's. You have represented our country at the Olympics. A lot of people are very quick to turn to say, what's next? What's going to happen? And I feel like I'm interested to get your thoughts. Like, what's it like, I guess, living the moment you've achieved so much? Do you always look to what's next, or are you able to kind of sit back and look at what you've achieved so far in your journey to date?
I guess in my mind, there is always what's next.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, I'm in a really good spot where we just finished our current season about 6 weeks ago. And I found this time around, I could kind of sit back and like appreciate what we had done, and I guess like really soak in the time off and just like switch off a little bit. I feel like that's really important.
Yeah.
But in my mind, there is always, like what's next? Like we're obviously working towards the 2028 LA Olympics now, and like we're hungry. Like we want to come back and win that gold, and like I would do anything to like come back and win a gold medal and just like work towards that. So that is always in my mind. Yeah.
Will it mean a bit more to beat the US on their home soil?
Oh, it'll mean so much, and I can't wait to do it.
And that's the thing, right? You go over there, and from those games, fortunately, unfortunately, you learn more about yourself and your teammates.
Absolutely,
than what you do if you win. So I guess going into LA, and that's your next goal, how are you feeling?
I think all the girls are hungry. Like we're like determined to stay and like work as hard as we can, and I guess just like get the best out of each other. And you're right, like kind of going through that together, I think almost bonded us and motivated us as a group to be better and I guess learn from it. And we're doing a lot of like reflections and different things to kind of pinpoint what we can improve on and what we can do better to ultimately take out LA.
Yeah, 100%. We're coming to the end here, Bridgie. You have experienced and achieved a lot, and you've done so well for yourself so far. That's so fine. What is, I guess, the best piece of advice that you've either heard, received, that you've been able to apply to your life so far?
I guess honestly, just keep working at it. Like I think for myself, like having a few injuries and having a few setbacks, like there were times where I wanted to stop. And leading into the Olympics, the training was so hard. Like it was so brutal. And there were so many times that I wanted to give up. Like I honestly wanted to quit.
Yeah.
But I think like, although we didn't get the outcome that we wanted at the Olympics. Like, it was a dream of mine since I was little to go to the Olympics. And I can kind of reflect back on it now and think like, wow, like I went to the Olympics, like my family, my brother, my grandparents came, like everyone put their lives on hold to like come over and support me. And I kind of think back on that achievement and think that like maybe the hard work was worth it. And yeah, I just like, I'm so happy that I kept pushing myself to make it. And I'm really looking forward like to pushing to the LA Olympics.
100%. And very last question, Bridgie. On this podcast, we love to go out and challenge the next guest to come on.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going to throw to you, Bridge.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see come on to this podcast?
Oh, I would love to see an NRLW player.
Okay.
Maybe someone with a 7's background, maybe the likes of Emma Tonegata or Jada Taylor, I know, plays for the Sharks.
Yeah.
They've both got 7's backgrounds, so their perspective would be great, I think.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Bridge, I really appreciate sitting down with you. You've, like I said, you've achieved so much representing your country. I think it's really fitting that we've got this piece right in front of you because it very much embodies the Australian spirit. And I think you very much embody that too. So thank you for coming on. And
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.